AEW wrestler Ricochet has called out WWE for counter-programming AEW events after it was revealed that NXT Heatwave would be airing the same day as AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door pay-per-view. We have an update on the number of tickets distributed for AEW All in Texas, with the show set to emanate from Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas tomorrow. Dustin Rhodes reveals he signed a 6-year contract with AEW last December. Kevin Vonerk reportedly is also under a Legends contract with AEW. Shaina confirms she was at NXT and clarifies details on if she's going to be a producer for WWE's developmental brand. A United States Championship match has been confirmed for Saturday night's main event. Rhea Ripley hits back at fans who send fan mail directly to her home address. Gail reacts to TNA President Carlos Silva's comments about reinvigorating the Knockouts division and her departure from TNA Wrestling earlier this year. Lance Storm says there's a good chance he will not be working for TNA if they go live every single week. Jim Ross shares his thoughts on the upcoming WWE Unreal Netflix docuseries. And Ross also gives his prediction for Goldberg vs. Gunther at Saturday night's main event. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with Ricochet hitting back at WWE for their counter-programming of AEW events. Now, it's no secret that WWE have been counter-programming All Elite Wrestling's events, and AEW's Ricochet has given his thoughts on the matter. With AEW running All in Texas tomorrow on July 12th, WWE have counter-programmed with a weekend of events, with Saturday night's main event, NXT Great American Bash, and Evolution 2 running on July 12th and July 13th to draw attention and focus away from AEW's biggest events of the year. Recent reports suggested that WWE will continue this booking practice, a tactics they have employed to great effect throughout their history, including the likely announcing of NXT Heatwave to air the same day as AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door pay-per-view in August. Now, current AEW star Ricochet is not a fan, taking to X to call the practice a bitch move, which you can see on the screen right there. It is believed, as I said previously, that WWE are set to hold NXT Heatwave on August 24th to go against AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door London show, with WWE NXT set to run the Philadelphia market just before AEW is set to start its summer residency in the 2300 arena. Now, AEW President Tony Khan was recently asked about WWE's counter-programming tactics, but Khan deflected the question to instead promote upcoming AEW shows, saying he's solely focused on All Elite Wrestling. Speaking of upcoming All Elite Wrestling shows, we're just 24 hours away from AEW All in Texas at Globe Life Field, and we have the latest ticket distribution number to give you. According to WrestleTix on social media, the last count was that 22,525 tickets have been distributed, with 2,220 tickets remaining. Of course, more sections could and possibly will be opened. It's already been seen as a financial success for AEW, with the gate expected to exceed $3 million. Now, in terms of what to expect at AEW All in Texas tomorrow, well, reportedly we could be getting some special entrances. Now, AEW All In is upon us this Saturday, and of course there is plenty to look forward to. Now, among those includes a number of special entrances for the show. Fightful Select of lately, especially say that AEW has prided themselves on a number of big entrances for their pay-per-view events, and this weekend will be no different. Fightful have been told that a number of top talent from Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Mercedes Moné, and Timeless Tony Storm will all discuss for special entrances along the way to All In. Now, Fightful say they haven't confirmed if all of those will be happening, but there were also some crossover integrations discussed for the show. Of course, if we get any more details on what those entrances could look like, we'll let you know in a future video. Dustin Rhodes is All Elite, and he's going to be for quite some time. In December 2024, Dustin Rhodes announced he had signed a new multi-year contract with AEW. In a feature by Evan Grant of the Dallas Morning News, it's revealed that Dustin signed a 6-year deal with the promotion. The feature states, quote, if he can make it to the end of the 6-year deal he signed with AEW over the winter, in which he consults, coaches, occasionally wrestles, and acts as an ambassador for the promotion, he'll have 6 decades in the business. He's endured 14 surgeries, still needs both knees replaced, and his shoulders are a wreck. Still, he shows up to run the school and his satellite wrestling operation, still paints his face, a tradition that started when Vince McMahon handed him a bizarre androgynous character named Goldust that was doomed to go nowhere. Dustin was wrestling with wrestling chops and comedic instincts, saw it as a way out of the shadow of his dad's persona, and made it work. Of course, Dustin is one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions with Sammy Guevara and 1/3 of the Ring of Honor Six-Man Tag Team Champions alongside the Vonerks. He and Guevara are set to defend their Ring of Honor Tag Team titles against the Infantry tonight at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. Rhodes has been part of AEW since its first event, AEW Double or Nothing, back in 2019. Speaking of the Von Erichs, more of them are under contract with All Elite Wrestling. Kevin Von Erich is indeed All Elite. Speaking on the Claw podcast, Marshall Von Erich and Ross Von Erich revealed that their father, Kevin Von Erich, has signed with AEW. Quote, "My dad is officially AEW. He's on the team. He's with AEW now. We were surprised too. Yeah, man, I'm on the team now," said Marshall. Ross said, quote, "He's basically got some sort of Legends deal kind of thing, which is awesome. AEW was able to do some cool stuff like that." Marshall closed by saying, "I'm so happy AEW, guys that didn't have a full career in WWE or don't have a long history with them, it's cool to have a place for them. What they know, they still have tons of tools to help younger guys. Having guys like my dad in the locker room, you'll get better. When my dad's in the locker room, he'll be in deep conversation with one of the wrestlers. It's crazy who he impacts and talks to. Ross and I were impressed with the people that really respect him. Will Ospreay, we saw him in passing, and he loved our family and was really impacted by it. You're surprised at how many people know the story, especially in current wrestling. Will really is a student. MJF watches World Class all the time." As I mentioned, Marshall and Ross are 2/3 of the Ring of Honor Six-Man Tag Team Champions with Dustin Rhodes. They have been a part of Ring of Honor / AEW programming since 2023. Now, there had been a lot of reports and rumblings about Shaina Baszler's WWE status, and Baszler has now clarified what she was doing at NXT. It was first reported by Corey Hayes of Bodyslam.net and later corroborated by Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp that Shaina Baszler was listed as a producer for Kalani Jordan vs. Laney Reed on the July 8th episode of WWE NXT. Fightful added that WWE was testing Baszler out as a producer. Baszler proceeded to go live on Twitch and confirmed she was working with people at the Performance Center. Quote, "I happened to be at the WWE PC working with people. I'm not going to out the people that requested I work with them. So please, the dirt sheets are usually wrong, so do not believe stuff." Baszler went on to clarify what exactly she was doing at NXT. She said a story about Bryan Danielson being on headset when he was at WWE and telling her that's when he learned the most. Baszler shared that at Raw and Smackdown, only top guys can sit in the gorilla position for matches or segments that aren't their own. Baszler said she went to NXT because she was a top talent there. She added that she's technically under contract to WWE because her 90-day no-compete is not up yet. Quote, "Okay, about the producing thing. That's something I don't know if you guys know. Why would you know this? So one time when Daniel Bryan was backstage when he was with WWE, he would always sit on headset when he wasn't wrestling, and he always told me, that's when he learned the most was when he was on a headset. He learned a lot. He learned about what a camera is actually looking for, what the calls are, what the timing is of camera switches. Like, it helped him as a performer. So I figured during the times I was home, I would go to NXT and I would sit on headset just because on Raw and SmackDown at the time, I don't know if it's still this way. I guess I haven't been gone for that long, but only top guys were allowed to sit back in Gorilla for the rest of the show. That wasn't theirs. The matches weren't theirs. Well, I knew at NXT I could get on a headset because I was a top guy there. So I would just do it just to learn to be better. I knew I could get on a headset, so I started sitting on a headset just to listen to the calls to learn, again, about being a performer. It helps you understand the TV part of wrestling, which is what WWE is. So I was doing that. A couple of my friends got the okay because technically I'm still under contract with them to help out with some stuff in the ring. It happened to be on a Tuesday. I happened to sit on a headset. That's it. That's literally all that happened, guys. Now, Baszler went on to state that the possibility of becoming a producer on a more full-time basis could be there, but she'd have to make some decisions regarding her in-ring career. She still thinks she has stories left to tell. She shared that there's a part of her that hopes the powers that be at WWE see all of the social media chatter about her being at NXT and consider her for the role. Quote, "But yeah, could the possibility be there? Sure. I would have to decide if I'm ready to be done, but that's a whole other thing, you know what I mean? I still think I have some stories to tell, maybe, but I don't know. know. All I can tell you is it a possibility? Sure, always, especially because I've kept such a good relationship at NXT, and like I said, that was a place I'd always hung around. Just didn't really feel the need to tell anyone that, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe they'll see everyone talking about it and want to do it now. I don't know. Like I said, that would be great, right? I can't throw myself on the floor until I'm 60, but as of right now, I have no job. Well, I shouldn't say that. As of right now, I'm still under my 90 days left. But as for anything else, who knows? A side of me kind of hopes they see everyone talking about it, and then they think about it because what leverage that would have for me. Circling back to the in-ring front, Baszler said she'd like to go back to Japan, and there are a few Joshis she wants to step in the ring with. Quote, honestly, I really want to kind of go back to Japan, but I've wrestled all the Joshis that I want except for there's a couple, I guess. Of course, Baszler was a part of WWE's batch of talent releases in May. The three-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion was last in action at GCW/Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 13 event. Now, a US Championship match has been confirmed for WWE Saturday night's main event tomorrow. Following WWE Raw on Monday, only 3 matches had been announced for WWE Saturday night's main event this upcoming weekend, with Seth Rollins versus LA Knight, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, and Goldberg versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, all scheduled to take place. However, on Tuesday morning, WWE Smackdown General Manager Nick Aldis announced that one more title match will transpire on this Saturday show. After defeating Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship at WWE Night of Champions, Aldis revealed that Solo Sikoa's first championship defense will be against Jimmy Uso at Saturday night's main event. If Uso manages to defeat Sikoa this Saturday, it would be the first time he's captured singles gold in his career. That said, with Sikoa still being the early stages of his reign, it's likely that he will retain against Uso, whether he wins cleanly or with the help of his MFTs. Elsewhere on the card, Knight will be looking for revenge after Rollins faction members Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed prevented him from emerging victorious in the Money in the Bank ladder match last month. Additionally, McIntyre returned to SmackDown last Friday, where he got into a verbal exchange with the Viper, leading to Aldis setting up a match between both competitors for this weekend. Finally, Gunther will compete against Goldberg in the final match of Goldberg's career. However, the 58-year-old admitted in an interview with Michael Cole that he'd reconsider his retirement if he won the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, Rhea Ripley had some choice words for fans on social media throughout her WWE career. Rhea Ripley has been more than generous when it comes to meeting fans, doing autograph signings, and connecting with viewers at home through social media. The former Women's World Champion has even walked the extra mile to be present at charity events such as Make-A-Wish Foundation events, and being one of the biggest stars in WWE has also caused her to be the subject of strange fan activity. On Thursday morning, Ripley took to social media to reveal that she's been receiving fan mail at her home address and stated that she will not be engaging with any letters sent to her front door. Quote, fan mail sent directly to my house will not be opened, it will be thrown out. Many people have come to Ripley's defense explaining that it's creepy and people are trying to locate her personal address. Additionally, some fans advise Ripley to make a fan mail P.O. box, which is a designated place for public figures or celebrities to receive mail. This is also not the first time Ripley has needed to speak out about being sent personal letters, as she advised fans to stop sending mail to her house earlier this year. Now, Gail Kim, of course, a TNA Hall of Famer, but no longer with the company. Gail Kim has addressed comments made by TNA President Carlos Silva. Now, guest appearing on the Ariel Helwani show was TNA President Carlos Silva. Among the subjects he touched on was parting ways with Gail Kim. He brought up a point about feeling the need to reinvigorate the locker room and maybe reinvigorate the Knockouts division. Kim caught wind of the comments and responded with 2 posts on X, saying, quote, on comments recently about the Knockouts division needing to be reinvigorated, I want to let it be known that I was pushing that for a year plus before Carlos Silva came in, to grow homegrown talent and do more with the Knockouts division. I was fighting for that since Scott departed. My loyalty and passion towards the Knockouts division should never be questioned, and how I wanted that division to be upheld. I fought for them weekly, just wanted my thoughts to be clearly delivered. In addition to Kim, Errol Scherner, Rob Kligman, and Michael Shuchenko were let go by TNA back in March. Now, speaking of TNA, Lance Storm says he could be gone from the company if they move to being live 52 weeks a year. Now, TNA Wrestling President Carlos Silva was making the rounds, as I mentioned, and one of his stops was this appearance on the Ariel Helwani show. While speaking about wanting to lock in a new media rights deal, Silva said their partners have inquired about TNA going live every single week. TNA producer Lance Storm reacted to that on the Wrestling Observer live show and said if TNA does go live every week, there's a good chance he will no longer be working there. Storm enjoys the work-home life balance that he has, but is for the idea of a deal being worked out where he would not have to be there there every week. He said, quote, "Yeah, this has been talked about many times, and my answer is always there is a good chance I won't be working there if that happens. I love TNA, I love my job, I love everyone that I work with. But my life has always been a balance of my home life and my schedule, and the idea of flying out early Wednesday to not get home until later in the day Friday is a 3-day week job, and I'm not sure that is in the cards for me anymore. Maybe we could work out a deal that I didn't do that every week. Who knows? I would do everything I could to stay with the company should that happen, and that would be great if they could get a great media rights deal, but I'm not looking at a full-time schedule at this point in my life." Now, Jim Ross, he shared his thoughts about the upcoming WWE Netflix series WWE Unreal. WWE Unreal drops later this month on Netflix, providing fans with a behind-the-scenes look at today's WWE. Former WWE Intercontinental Champion Ryback recently praised the upcoming project, saying that WWE is no different than the movies and that it will help WWE, it will help people understand the work that goes on in weekly episodic production. On Grilling JR, AEW announcer Jim Ross gave his thoughts on Ryback's take on WWE Unreal. Quote, "I'm happy and surprised that Ryback has been so objective. I think he's right in a lot of points. It's hard to say how it's going to be until you see it, but it's got a lot of way to go, so hopefully it'll be successful for them," Ross responded. Ross himself has been a guest or host for many behind-the-scenes programs of pro wrestling. In addition to his podcasts and books, JR conducted several interviews for WWE Confidential, an early 2000s candid episodic television show that ran in an era where behind-the-scenes features were very uncommon to see. Ross spoke on issues such as the Montreal Screwjob, which at the time of his interview had only taken place less than 5 years prior. Ross also spoke to Stone Cold Steve Austin's walkout from WWE in 2002, opening up about his best friend's personal struggles. Speaking of Ross, he's also provided his predictions for Saturday night's main event tomorrow. Following a successful battle against cancer, Jim Ross has confirmed that he will be at AEW All In this weekend in Texas. However, on a recent edition of his podcast, Grilling JR, the commentator was asked to give his thoughts on the main event of another show taking place on the same day, WWE Saturday night's main event. Quote, "I think Gunther is your guy, but you never know," Ross said. "That's the great thing about pro wrestling. You can say it's unpredictable. It's the best when it can't be forecast, when there's not a guaranteed winner. We'll have a winner, but we don't know who it's going to be, and I think that's good for business. It's been strongly indicated that this will be Goldberg's final match, though that could theoretically change if he wins the World Heavyweight Championship. The general consensus among fans seems to be that Gunther should retain, but there are those pulling for a Goldberg win, including Tommy Dreamer of Busted Open Radio. Still, it's much more likely the match will serve as a farewell to the 4-time world champion, who had been hampered with an unsatisfying booking throughout much of his final WWE run. Saturday night's main event is scheduled to take place Saturday at 8 p.m, broadcast live on NBC, also on Peacock. In addition to the main event, the show will feature Seth Rollins versus LA Knight, a United States Championship match between Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, and Drew McIntyre taking on Randy Orton. Meanwhile, WWE NXT Great American Bash and All In will take place earlier on in the day. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.